PPT is here on the website. Good afternoon, one and all. Honorable Secretary, Science Education Research Board, Government of India, Dr. Akhilesh Gupta, and Director IIT Indore in absentia. Professor Anil Kumar Gupta, Head ECDRM Division of NIDM, National Institute of Disaster Management. Convener, Outreach Committee, Professor Sahu. All esteemed deans, associate deans, heads of departments and centers, all esteemed faculty members, staff members, and dear students. Today we have the proud privilege to have with us Honorable Secretary SERB with us to deliver an institute colloquium on a very important and relevant topic. So we will listen to him. So before that, may I request Convener Outreach Committee to welcome him with a bouquet. May I request you, sir, to welcome Professor Anil Gupta, sir, also with a bouquet. And now I will request you, sir, for welcome address.
So good afternoon to all of you who have gathered here for the important discussion on science innovation for the next decades. And Honorable Chairman, Board of Governors in absentia, he is joining anytime because he has a meeting. And our Director, Professor Joshi, is also joining in between. So heads, deans, my faculty colleagues, students, which are important because of it is next decadal plan. And before I start, some comments. So this is a colloquium, institute level colloquium on a special topic of interest for all of us. As we celebrate our 14th Foundation Day of the Institute tomorrow, it is a special occasion to have this institute colloquium. As you know, the average age of IIT Indore faculty is around 40. So we are just 14 years old. And this is the time to work hard and being loyal to the institute. And in a small span of time, we have made substantial academic progress, which is quite visible through our NIRF, QS, and other educational ranking systems. And most importantly, we need to keep the trajectory rising. And needless to mention, the cleanest city of India, Indore, it becomes a responsibility for all of us to shoulder the responsibility of this, keeping the trajectory up the academic progress of the institute. And when all of us shoulder this responsibility of institutional growth, it is a proper time to have Dr. Akhilesh Gupta, who is our ACRB Secretary, Government of India, and to know about the national strategies in science and technology for the next few decades, which will help us to steer our R&D activities in the institute and then come up with a special position in the national scenario. And because we are a 2G IIT, our faculty members are young, dynamic, and the research is at the cutting edge. So that is the reason actually this is the best time that we take advantage of this occasion of interacting with the people who make policy for the country, and particularly making the draft for the vision, science and technology vision of till 2030 and onwards. And as you can see, our director and BOG chairman, when I met during the lunch time, they promised that they will be here for this occasion. And essentially this enhances or boosts our morale doing science and technology at IIT Indore, because you will find very less IITs where the BOG chairman and director will be in the occasion to push these activities. And it is a pleasure and privilege for me today to introduce Dr. Akhilesh Gupta to this evening August gathering. And Dr. Gupta, welcome to IIT Indore. And it is a pleasure for all IIT Indore fraternity that you are here to interact with us. So Dr. Akhilesh Gupta has a doctorate degree from IIT Delhi in atmospheric science in 1999 and postgraduate degree from Lucknow University in physics. And he joined the Indian Meteorological Department in 1985 and later the National Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasting in 1994. Both are currently under the Ministry of Earth Sciences. Dr. Gupta has been the advisor to Union Science and Technology Minister, Secretary to University Grant Commission UGC, and currently Dr. Gupta is a senior advisor in the DST heading Policy Coordination and Program Management Division, and overall he is in charge of 5 national missions. National Mission on Interdisciplinary Cyber Physical System, National Mission on Quantum Technology and Application, which is actually the next generation after particularly last year Nobel Prize in Physics being given to quantum technology or quantum computing. So National Supercomputing Mission, National Mission on Strategic Knowledge for Climate Change, and National Mission for Sustaining the Himalayas Ecosystem. You can see these are some of the things of national and international importance. And Dr. Gupta has published over 200 research papers in various national and international journals, proceedings, conferences. He is editor of 5 books, author of over 350 articles and nearly 1,000 reports. Some of the key research areas of interest to Dr. Gupta include tropical cyclone prediction, monsoon meteorology, location-specific weather prediction, weather and climate modeling, STI policy areas like open science, equity, inclusion, STI financing, system interconnectedness, etc. Dr. Gupta has been one of the authors of India's National Action Plan on Climate Change and head of the Secretariat which drafted India's new technology and science and innovation policy, which is under finalization. And it is a pride moment for all of us to note that Dr. Gupta is a fellow of Indian National Academy of Engineering, fellow of Indian Meteorological Society, and a fellow of Association of Agro-Meteorologists. So IIT Indore fraternity is quite happy today to have Secretary SERB Dr. Gupta. And as I mentioned at the beginning, so we are a different kind of IIT where our leaders like director and BOG chairman, so they are on board to boost our morale and these kind of activities. So I'm happy that Professor Joshi has also joined during his busy schedule. May I please request Professor Joshi to welcome with few words. And our chairman is joining in between because he told since looking into the importance of the meeting, so he told I'll shift my meeting and come here. So that is the importance of having real visionaries and leaders for a new institute like IIT Indore. Thank you very much. So may I please request Professor Joshi so that we will start the session. Yeah, thank you.
Good afternoon to all and welcome to this Institute Colloquium. It's our great pleasure and honor that Dr. Akhilesh Gupta has agreed to come. We actually wanted him much earlier when we were thinking of a conference here. And we have many plans actually to work in the area of sustainability, disaster management. I mean, these are some of the vital areas for the society, where IITs can bring how much damage it has happened in Turkey and Syria because of the earthquake. And, countries are absolutely helpless. So just like COVID emergencies, variety of climate and atmospheric emergencies are likely to come. And we should be prepared for all these things. So that is where I think Vision 2030, what are we going to do? How are we going to do in the coming future is very important. And we also have, all of us have a lot of role to play. He has told that all the departments should actually come together and project what kind of centers of excellence you want to build. I told him that exactly we are doing the same exercise with all the faculty members and departments. I'm asking the same questions to all of them that what is your vision and what you would like to do in coming 5 years or 10 years. He's also asking me the same question. So Dr. Gupta, welcome to the institute formally and look forward to hearing to your vision. Thank you.
So may I now request Dr. Akhilesh Gupta, Secretary SCRB, to enlighten us on science, technology, innovation in India, Vision 2030 and beyond. So it's essentially on the national decadal policy of science and innovation. So let's listen to Dr. Gupta, and then we'll have intense interactions. Yeah, thank you. So
On. On it? Is it working?
yeah, sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Sahu, and thank you, Professor Joshi, for inviting me. It's indeed a privilege for me to talk to you. The background of this presentation is that what Dr. Sahu mentioned, that I've been given that privilege of leading the team which drafted India's fifth National Science and Technology Innovation Policy. Yeah, it's almost like in the final stage. So I am giving you the first-hand version of the policy, which is going to be finalized very shortly by the cabinet. So I'm not talking about just policy, but there are many other background issues that I wanted to present to you. Many of you, I mean, you are expert in your area, and so you know the subject well, but the national STI ecosystem, what kind of ecosystem exists in the country today, is generally not known to the researcher in the country. But I am going to present that background, and then I come to the policy. Does it work?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me give you a snapshot of India's STI ecosystem. So we, in fact, the science sector in India, as any other country, consists of science, technology, and innovation. There was, I mean, you remember that earlier time, we used to call the science as the mother of all, and technology was added, and then innovation was a recent addition. And got all these three verticals, although interconnected, but they all had their own importance. And so I am going to touch upon these three verticals in a more interconnected way. Now, if you look at the science and technology innovation ecosystem in the country, in government setup, we have we have agencies which work in mission mode, with agency which work in the non-static bodies, and then some of them are funding agency, that is extramural funding agencies. There are socio-economic ministry, there are academic research agencies, industrial R&D system, MNC R&D system, and NGOs. So put together, there is a large ecosystem that exists in government and private, and different departments have different things. If you see the research institutions, now this differentiation should be clear that, we have academic system, we have a research system, and we have the system in the private and also the industry. research is not just in the domain of government. Although we think that all research are done by IITs and universities, but there's so much of research is being done in the private sector, which normally we are not aware. But so if you look at, there are 609 research institutions in the country, and they are in different departments and ministries. They work under their control. And country has something like 1,056 universities or degree awarding institutions, and 45,000 colleges, and then there are breakup of different kind of institutions and universities. Now, state, this is less known to most of the people, that apart from the central government ecosystem, there is an ecosystem exists in the states. And most of the states, they work at a very dominant level. The R&D is not very visible to people. But our team worked recently when we were formulating the policy. We worked on this, and we realized that we have large number of institutions working as part of the state ecosystem. But of course, there is so much of variability seen from one state to another, especially the eastern side of the states, all Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Orissa, and then eastward to northeastern state, the ecosystem is weak. I'm talking integrated ecosystem, not just R&D institution, not just academic institution, but overall. Especially in the innovation side, the eastern part is very weak. See, this is a very common question. I mean, I see many of the people, when we were formulating policy, then many people in the IITs, professors have been telling that that India has less, India is spending less in R&D, and our expenditure is something like 0.69 or so, 0.67, which is much less than the rest of the world, which is true. But let me just elaborate on this thing. So, for example, if you see, compare India's GDP contribution to R&D with countries like even Brazil, Russian Federation, China, South Africa, all of them are in fact having more money spent on R&D compared to India. And developed countries, most of the developed countries, they spend more than 2% of the GDP for R&D. There are two issues that concern India. One is that our full-time equivalent R&D professional is one of the lowest in the world. We are just 255 per million of population. This is one of the lowest in the world. In fact, I can show you the figures of the country like US, it is 2,500, even China is 1,200. Finland is very high, nearly 3,000 or so. So every country has, if you compare any economy in the world, having more number of researchers than we have. Second concern is the private sector contribution to R&D. Again, this is, if you talk about any economy in the world, this is one of the lowest, only 38%. Compared to countries like US, or you take UK, or you take any advanced country, there the private sector contribution is nearly 70 or more. Percentage is almost double of India's percentage. So these two are very important areas of concern for India. Although we do so much good, but these two are the biggest limitation that actually creates a challenge for the country. Now, in India, largely government is dominating the expenditure, and most of the expenditure is central sector. The 50% is the central sector contribution in the R&D expenditure. And and then this I'm showing this is the national R&D spending, government spending sorry, it is all total spending, total put together, all put together is 1 lakh. This is a figure which is slightly old. Now the current figure is 1,49,000 crore. That is the figure that we have. 37% is the participation of private. The remaining are the contributions on central and state sector and our higher education sector. Now, R&D funding put together, is if you see all these 11 S&T requirements, this is the total budget that we have. Just showing that in last year, this is a glimpse of last year budget, where we show that put together, they contribute to the national R&D. If you take all countries, different agencies, in US, the agency like National Science Foundation has 8.8 billion budget. Then UK Research and Innovation 7.34 budget, China 5.2, Germany 3.7, and so on. India, in fact, DST and SERV put together only 0.7% of the 0.7 billion US dollar is the total budget that we have. This is the area of concern. I want to elaborate a little bit on this. So as I said, if you look at the figure, India has one of the lowest in the large economies, 265 scientists per million population. And all these, China and UK and France and Japan, Germany, US, all of them are they have a very large number of full-time equivalent researcher per million. So you can say, look at this in a different way that, since we have large population, then, in the ratio of that, we had less number. But then you look at China. So they also have 1,000 scientists. But if you look at the total volume number of researchers, then India is having something like 5.5 lakh, researchers, as compared to 1.6 million China, 2.5 million US. So actually, even if you see number, if not see the ratio from, we are one of the lowest. And so this is the area of concern that we have. Now, in this we can say that in number of institutions in India, we have good number of institutions, nearly now 1,000 universities and 600 R&D institutions and large number of private institutions are there. So, but let me mention here that the universities in India, and I have been secretary UGC, so I know I have traveled across the country and saw the university condition. So you are the privileged class, IITs are the privileged class that you have a good balance of teaching and research. It is not there in many of the universities. In fact, you find that the focus of universities, primary focus of the universities to teach, and therefore the researcher, I'll give you a figure that then you can understand there are 17 lakh teachers in the country, put together. But researcher is only 5 lakh. Oh, that too also you're including all, the managers, science managers put together. If you see the core researcher in the country is only 3.4 lakh. So the number, you have more teachers, but you have less researcher. And that is the whole issue. This is not the case in many of the world universities. If you go to any university in the world, you find that, that the research and teaching are well balanced. And also the innovation. The innovation is also, and again here in India, although we have large number of universities and so much of claim that is made that we have so much of facilities, the innovation in universities, Indian universities, is very poor. IITs again have privilege that they have so much of innovation. But this is an interesting diagram showing that where are we in terms of manpower? And so there is an interesting relationship between the manpower, number of manpower, and the R&D expenditure that we make. So if you see the bottom, R&D as percentage of GDP is the x-axis, and the scientists per million of population is on the y-axis. India comes at the bottom here, you see, it's here. So we have both problem. We have less money and we have less manpower. When you look at the size, this is the size of the researcher, you see. So we have good size. I mean, I'm not saying our size is less, but you see the China and see the US size, and so they fall under the high density and high investment category. So there is a high density of researchers and there is a high, investment given by the government. Now, so this has been so many, in fact, in the Science Congress, at least in last 1 decade or more than 1 decade, I've been listening that every time an announcement is made that India should reach 2% of the GDP. But is that easy path? Is that a very viable path? And this diagram shows that we need to have followed a different path if we had to travel to 2% of GDP. Why? Because you see the different paths that we can follow. If we follow the path of high density, high investment, it's really impossible for India to achieve. Impossible. Why? Because then we need a multiplicity of at least 10 times of the today number in next 10 years. 10 times of the manpower of the today's number. Impossible. Whatever you do, you spend 2% or 3%, you cannot achieve. We need to follow a path where we have lesser expenditure and lesser manpower, but going slower and achieving the same thing. So basically, if you want to achieve this 2%, you need to follow a different tangent than a different slope than what the US and China and others have followed. It is a tricky way. I mean, I'm not going to elaborate what I'm going to say. That it's a very tough job, and India need to walk very carefully if we had to achieve 2%. No, this is so I always say that India is a country created by God Himself, because despite all the alarm we have, I say lowest density of our this researcher, lowest investment, all this, that. But look at our achievements. See, we have become third in number of research papers in the world. Third. In terms of money spent, we are something like 57th. But look at, so is that a miracle taking place here in India? Third position in terms of research papers. And this is very gradually. We were 7th sometime in 2010. Now we gone third. We gone third in terms of PhD in science. This is again a miracle. And we are not far away. See, India has something like 26,000 PhDs in science and engineering. China has 39,000. US has something like 45,000. So we are not far behind them. How? Why? How? I mean, they have 10 times more researchers than us. Why? And how it is taking place? So if somebody asks, I will answer that question. So let me put that magic before you, why it is taking. We are third in terms of startup. You see, if you look at the innovation, country like Sweden, Switzerland, UK, US, entire Europe, entire your eastern side, your China and Japan, they have been working in startup for a long time. We started only in 2016 in a big way. We reached third position. Again, miracle. Unicorn, we are third position. 108 unicorn, and all happened in last 3 years. So we are second largest in terms of STEM graduates after China. And this is what is the, am I obstructing your view? Is it okay? Okay. So, some miracles taking place. I'll come to this miracle later. But we have some good progress, but not to the right. For example, in terms of quality, although people say that, okay, quantity is fine. You are third position. What about quality? Yes, quality we are 9. And mind you, 2012, we were 13th position. We are 9th now and slowly progressing well. I'll give you one good example. Quality in India research, thanks to IITs and ISC. All quality coming out from there. But anyway, I'll come to some issues that are little kind of concern, but let me move forward. A good progress has been made in terms of number of researchers, women researchers. This is a problem that India, not India, every country is facing. Global average of number of women researchers in science is 30%. It's a global average. We came to 18.7, and 10 years back, we were half of this number. And thanks to the initiative that DST and many funding agencies have taken, that because of the better mobility and better opportunity for women, number is increasing. There are social reasons, but then there are also other reasons. This is a favorite subject for me. I can answer wherever I do have paucity of time. I'm not going to detail, but I think women face several other challenges. So people claim that women face only social challenges, social issues. But I know this has been studied very extensively by I think. But this is another thing that resident patenting. India has been facing a lot of problems with resident patenting. Most of the patents are international patents, non-resident patent. But recently, we made good progress, and we are now 7th. And the Global Innovation Index, India made a good jump. 80th position, 81st position in 2015 to now 40th position. So 41 position in a matter of 7 years is a good jump. And since I am a member of the National Committee on GII, I can tell you what kind of changes have happened. It's outstanding changes that are taking place. And thanks to the government, which has formulated the national patent policy in 2016 and thereafter, there's so much of changes taking place. Anyway, as I said, this is a challenge that we have, one of the lowest in FTE. So this is the women number that you see. There is one area why women have not been able to come to a good number of percentage of share in research is that in the mathematics and engineering, the number of women researchers is very less. It's almost like 14% or so. Is that reason not to do with something with the choice that women would like to take? I differ with that. I don't think it is because the choice is taken by the women. Again, there is some other reason for behind this thing. And you see, it is famous Sachi idiot dialogue by that Viru Sahasrabudhe. देखो, if it is boy, engineer banao. If it is girl, doctor banao. So this mindset issue, it is more than the woman choice issue. That actually creates problem. So mindset is a big issue and that comes on the way of women choosing the other subject areas. This is a diagram, interesting diagram, and we must learn from this diagram. So, in 2008, in the Global Innovation Index rating, India was ahead of China. We were 21st and they were 23rd position. We were ahead of China. But China brought the right policy in 2010. In 2011, then they improved like anything. And now they are in top 10 or so. Their position is 12, I think. India deteriorated its position over the time and then reached to 81st position. And then in 2016, the government brought new patent policy, IPR policy. I don't know how many people have heard about this term, which is which has been used in the IPR policy. Is called the patent box regime. In the patent box regime, there is some kind of the regime which is created to facilitate the patenting in the market. So, because of the better IPR policy, our ranking has now been steadily improving in that. In fact, last year, India became the number 1 in the world in the innovation achievers. We became number 1 in the world in terms of innovation. So this is happening. So I think India is slowly coming up in the GII, and our guess is that in next 5-6 years, India will lead in top 10, in ranking in the GII. This is again last year. This is the first time in last one decade when the resident patenting has exceeded the non-resident. So this is helping in a big way, because then you have better, patenting being pursued from the country. Now this is a kind of table shows that how we have been doing. So India is following less money, less manpower, but doing better and better. So that shows that our researchers, they have much better. The other day I was talking to somebody and saying that hair cell. People say that the professor was saying that, sir, we work on Saturday, Sunday also. You go to US, you find that Friday afternoon सब भाग जाते हैं and Monday ही दिखाई पड़ेंगे. So in India, our commitment level is much higher. हम कम पैसे में ज़्यादा काम कर सकते हैं. ये सच्चाई है. इसको मजाक में लिया जा सकता है, पर हम कम पैसे में ज़्यादा काम कर सकते हैं. So actually, with less money and with less number, we can do more. Now, so there is so much of agenda setting has taken place in terms of several things that I flagged here. So we need a new STI policy because all our policies are now somewhat outdated. So look at the first policy that came up in 1958, and you see, look at the policy formulations, processes, and the intent. When 1958 policy came, it was just one-page policy, prepared by Homi Bhabha, read by Prime Minister Nehru in the parliament, the one-page policy. What is it? That we must inculcate the scientific temper in the public, in the common man, citizen. That's one page policy. At that time, scientific temper was more relevant. Research hasn't started at that time in a big way. In 1983, the relevance came and India actually had the first Cochrane experiment. An entire world could ban on India on technology transfer. And so Indira Gandhi said, no, we need a technology policy so that we become Atmanirbhar. And so Atmanirbhar was first time used there. And now it is used more commonly at time India to become resilient. India to become self-sufficient in technology. That was in 83. And that is how in 83 policy, and this again was written by some 5-6 people. So this was like no consultation, no national level stakeholders, And then came Science and Technology Policy 2003. So I've been associated with all the two, 2003, 2013, and now 2023. So that at time also, it was first time science and technology were integrated. And then we created a national R&D ecosystem and national innovation system. At that time, national innovation innovation decade was launched at that time. So this is, and then science and technology innovation policy was prepared in 2013. This was a little bit kind of consultation. With consultation, it was done, but mostly top down. Now, bottom up consultation was not there. So these. So now, in fact, the fifth science and technology innovation policy. This was formulated in a different way. And we thought that the policy should be bottom up, should be decentralized, should be expert driven, should be inclusive, and should be evidence based. There was no other policy in the country except the last national education policy, which was evidence based. So mostly statement based. Somebody, 5 people sat together saying, ye hona chahiye, hona chahiye. But this was the first science policy, which was evidence based. And so both expert driven top down and the bottom up process was taken. And so this is a kind of new formulation system was driven. And we consulted almost every stakeholder. There was not a single stakeholder left out. Whether it is state government, and this is the first policy where state government was also consulted. And so universities, the industry, thought leaders, civil society, and everything. And if you look at the consultation, this is the largest ever consultation in person. And thanks to COVID, because of COVID, and since I led this consultation, so I know we had consultation every day, 3 consultation average. So that is how 450 rounds of consultation online mostly. And this was a kind of, I never thought in my dream, earlier that I would be able to talk to people. Nearly something like 30,000 people I talked to in person. So you imagine you are talking to 30,000 people. So that's why, in fact, I known in many of the university where I go, I think many people must have seen me online on consultation. So, and we had students. This is the first time that the school children, and we consulted them, कि तुमको साइंस में क्या चाहिए. तो बच्चों के क्वेश्चन तो बच्चों वाले होते हैं. They kind of introduced, yeah, let keep, children get excited. So we had quiz participation and prize we have given to them. Anyway, these are the two things that are important I wanted to mention, that we first time have state governments participated in the consultation of any policy in the country ever. There was never a state government participation. And for the first time, Indian diaspora was consulted. Again, never in the past any diaspora was consulted. And we created gender guidelines, young, so oldest person was 81-year-old, the youngest was, something like some 13-year-old. So we tried all balancing so that, these were the 8 chapters. So you might have seen this policy in the first version on the GST website. But this is, I am giving you I'm not going to give you all, but just glimpse I am giving. These are the 8 areas of concern that we have mentioned in the policy. And these are 12 key recommendations. There are 120 recommendations. So I am just presenting only 10% of that. But I am just presenting the key issues. So first is the full-time equivalent researcher number. It's a big challenge and we need to address this. Unless we do it, our science cannot be going forward. Number is very important for us. Private sector, this is the second challenge. Private sector contribution must increase to double. If you want to achieve 2% of GDP, without private sector contribution, you cannot achieve. Young scientists, see, most of the policies, they focus on the ecosystem, institutional mechanism, and so, but young scientists are doing, this is so India has, nearly 50% of the scientists, they are below 40 years. So, this, like, I felt very happy when it was mentioned that, the average age of this faculty here is 40, you said, no? 40. So, this is amazing. And I think I will say this calls for a round of applause. I have never seen any institution in the country. I've been to at least 200 institutions. I have never seen any institution where faculty average age is 40 or less. I want to tell you that our consultation, whatever we did, the average age of people who participated in consultation was 38 years, average age. So it matches with your age. So I always say that if you want to create a vision for 10 years or 20 years, this was a trend in DST, that if you want to set up any committee, then they will find out some 10 old men, not even women, 10 old men. And I'm telling you, this is the bias that I have seen in my, I'm talking and sitting in a very, a higher position, but I'm saying with all that I have to my command, this kind of bias that all of us have. Men always think about men. We always set up committee with that mindset. फलाम मिश्रा जी को रख लो, श्रीनिवासन जी को रख लो, इनको रख लो, बस और नाम नहीं आते. और हमेशा नाम आते हैं कि 70 साल 60 साल के आदमी के ऊपर नाम आते. And the idea is that, and this is not told by me, it is a meeting told by a very high leader. He said, Indian science is suffering from one disease. And disease is, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. All awards and fellowship are driven by this concept. And so, who is the sufferer? The younger generation sufferer. उनकी जब तक जाकर के सेवा नहीं करोगे तब तक आपको फेलोशिप नहीं मिलेगी. So that is the problem that we all, and I suffer myself. So I don't do. I'm telling you, I'm in open platform. I can say when I became secretary of CRV, people suddenly I started getting calls from very senior people, all those 70 साल वाले, and they started saying, I am very happy you become secretary of CRV. Actually, you deserve this position. All this thing. And then first call introductory था, उसके अगली कॉल है कि अच्छा वो देख लीजिएगा आपके पास ये प्रपोजल है सच एंड सच एंड उसको आप देख लीजिएगा थोड़ा सा एडजस्ट कर लीजिएगा वो मेरा प्रपोजल है मैंने दिया था. So I am very blunt, whether somebody likes it or not. I told some of these dons, I call them dons, I said, look, I don't belong to any lobby in this country, neither left nor right. I don't belong. And please allow things to happen on merit. I would not allow. Sorry, sir. उसके बाद कॉल आनी बंद हो गई. प्रॉब्लम यही है कि हम साइड लेते हैं फायदे के लिए. I told him, I don't need any award, I don't need any fellowship. In fact, somebody went to another step, saying, no, you are doing great job, I will ask minister to give you extension. I said, sir, please don't do it, I don't need extension. I don't want. तो इतना एफर्ट मत करिए सर जाकर के इनसे बोलिए. प्रॉब्लम यही है कि ये सेवा बंद कर दीजिए तब देखिए इसका फायदा. So this is the young scientists, and there is so much to offer in this policy on to younger researchers. 3-4 चीजें बहुत जरूरी है. And I had done it as secretary of CRD. You will see announcement soon. One area that is concerned to me, and I have been whenever I was here, is that do you know that in India we said 26,000 PhDs, but how many postdocs? We have less than 1,000 postdoc annually opportunity. Less than 1,000. Put together all. I have done this my own study. The productivity of a researcher, PhD, is less than one research paper. Find 6 research paper per year. The productivity. A faculty productivity is 1.3 or something, average of all. But a postdoc, the productivity is more than faculty. But we do not have opportunity here in the country for postdocs. And again, I will say especially women. See, again यहाँ पर मैं mindset issue लाता हूँ. PhD कर लिया बच्चे ने, पिताजी कहेंगे कि अब तुम वर्ल्ड की बेस्ट यूनिवर्सिटी में पोस्टडॉक कर लो जाकर. लेकिन पिताजी अपनी बिटिया को नहीं बोलेंगे जाके वर्ल्ड यूनिवर्सिटी में चले जाओ. वो कहेंगे देख लो यहाँ JNU में मिल जाएगा एडमिशन कहीं, यहीं कर लो. So we need to create these opportunity for those who want to do research after PhD in the country itself. We in SCRV annually we give 300 postdocs, every year. And that too it is announced once in a year. From 1st April this year, this number is being increased to 1,000. And then one more thing that is added. See, PhD is not like MSc or BSc where you pass out in June or July in a year. PhD, depending on the supervisor, you can get PhD any date of the year. So we change now the pattern, the format. So now you can apply a postdoc any time of the year. Anytime. So these two changes we are doing, I think 1st April we will announce this thing. So unless we increase the number of postdocs, we are not going to solve that full-time equivalent researcher number. It will not increase. See, technology indigenization and grassroots innovation, India is working silently. Again, many people don't know these kind of development taking place in the country. Grassroots innovation and frugal innovation, India is going to lead in the world. Silently it is happening. There are more than 3.5 lakh grassroots innovators in the country, but they do not have the opportunity. You know, frugal innovation, India is now considered as number one. In fact, China is number two. So these are the areas that we need. And now this technology indigenization and indigenous technology, people have confusion about these two. So technology indigenization and indigenous technology development are two different things. Let me explain what is technology indigenization. I know you know, all of you know what is indigenous technology development. So it is little different. Here, the idea is that you bring technology from outside and develop in India. So it is a kind of, make in India, that difference. We have developed a strategy for this. I'm not going to stop about this thing. This is in the policy, a national strategy on technology indigenization. Now, first time we are bringing open access policies. I know researchers have so much of problem issues in accessing the journals and all. All of you must be struggling. In fact, IITs are much better. We have institutional mechanism here. Universities was. We are bringing an open access policy. The first thing in the open access policy, we are bringing all journals access provided to all researchers free of cost, to everybody, all researchers. Then the equity and inclusion. No policy so far has mentioned about the equity and inclusion. See, women, again, I bring this is my favorite subject. They suffer like anything. You know this rule in many of the national institutions? That is, the husband and wife both are in the same area and they try to, same area, or even there's different area, they want to get job in the same institution. Only husband or wife, children, they're given only one person can take job. You know this? In ISC it is there. Many institutions it is there. So what happened? The women sacrifice. जैसे पति को मिल जाए जॉब मैं तो कुछ और कर लूँगी. This is what is happening. We are bringing the policy and no institution can implement like this. So this is a big, and there are many other things. I am not going to say here, many things are being. We are targeting 30%, women participation in research by 2030. This is, and there are many actions which will come in the policy. Traditional knowledge system, we are going to bring traditional knowledge mainstream with the formal R&D. Science communication, ease of doing research. I want to skip some of this thing. Diplomacy for science is an important area, but I think I can skip. Central state, so now state research is going to be integrated with the national research. So we are going to bring STI ecosystem at the national level, will be integrated with the STI ecosystem at the state level through a mechanism, national level, integration, where we'll bring a kind of institutional mechanism into that. We set up 8 big targets in the policy for 2030 and beyond. As India to be among top in global innovation index, we have worked out the entire strategy and we have started implementing what should be done. I'm not going to detail, but these are like several things that need to be done. Data is the main thing that we need. 2% of the national GDP, I already mentioned how we can do that. These are some of the action that we need to take on. Doubling the number of full-time equivalent researchers, again, these are the areas we need to work. There are several things that need to be done, but some of these actions have been outlined here. Resident patent, and we need to be in top 5. And again, there's so much of action that needed in this. Also, we are going to amend the IPR law. So that is also predicting, because without amending the IPR law, you cannot achieve this. Quality research outcome. I think many of you may be knowing that research assessments are, in fact, what we do research assessment by agencies like us is based on your output. How many research papers you publish, what is the impact factor, what is the your citation, and all that is all done in a very bureaucratic way. That is done in that way. We are going to change the entire system of assessment, research assessment, transitioning from output to outcome. So this is already done by some countries, and I think I organized a brainstorming. I don't know anybody participated from here. So I am going to organize another brainstorming. We are going to work on new research system, research assessment system in the country. So I think I already mentioned that one nation, one subscription model, where one nation, the institution need not have to give money for subscription or journal. It will be done centrally by Government of India through a negotiation process with the publishers. Similarly, we are working on article processing fees. I'm sure many of you must be paying for article processing fees for publishing in journals. This again going to be, we are going to work at it. We are now, no researcher now need to pay any FPC. It will be paid centrally by Government of India. So that another thing that is going, women participation in 30% target. It's a big target, and what you see that through this mechanism, we're going to promote women like anything, and this we want to achieve by 2030 or so. The India should become top 3 global leader, and this is in the real sense. So far, what is saying that third position in publication, third in startup, third in PhD, that's all not the third position globally in STI. We are yet to be third globally in STI overall. Target is that we must achieve this by 2030 or beyond. Maybe it will take a little. A lot of work needs to be done. Good news is that government is now going. This is the news I am giving you, since it will come soon. But maybe some indication I am giving that government is shortly going to set up a national research foundation, and that will mean the upscaling of funding for the researcher. So that actually will help achieving this. But as I said, money cannot translate into outcome. Money is only a means to translate it. Money cannot. So I always said, at the center of all development, it is individual. So if the researchers are not promoted, enabled, empowered, you cannot achieve anything, however good money you have in the institution. Money cannot buy the excellence. Excellence is achieved by individual. So I think this may be my last but one. So if this is the big agenda we are going to work on this. Prime Minister had announced last, Independence Day speech, he said that India must work on technology. And the decade now should be a decade of technology. Every economic development in the country will be driven by technology. It is so India's economy will be driven by technology. So therefore, if we had to become Atmanirbhar, we need to have Atmanirbharta in technology first. So technology import that we are doing from China to US, UK, and many countries, that must be curtailed, that must be arrested. A lot of work is needed. This is not a small goal. It will take a decade to work on this thing. Although we are targeting for 2030, but we have cleverly used the word 2030 and beyond. This cannot be achieved in 2030. It's required larger than 2030 time period to achieve. Very difficult. All the big technology and materials we are importing, they cannot be achieved in just next 5-6 years. India's science sector in last decade started moving faster in the right direction. Our relative position is improving, but can we become the third knowledge power in the world in the next few years, a decade? With a greater focus on providing central support to technology-led solutions to socio-economic challenges, water, energy, health, environment, all these areas are the area of concern. And therefore, I requested Director also that let's become proactive in grabbing the opportunity that government is going to provide in these 5 areas. The health, the agriculture, health, the environment, energy, and water. These are the 5 areas, top priority area for the country, where we need to work on this. These are application areas. New opportunities that are coming, we are going to have soon quantum technology and application mission. So the institute like IIT, we must work on quantum technologies. This is a futuristic technology. It's linked to India's security. The cyber physical system, we already have a hub here, but let's work little more correctly. You will get central stage in this area. In time to come, your institution will be focused, recognized for these futuristic technology. Conventional physics, chemistry, mathematics will continue, but we need to work on it in a proactive way of the thing. Innovation is going to be the theme for the development. Without innovation, the technology, the science leads to technology development, to prototype, to market. And innovation is the key to this entire chain. Without going from one state to another state, you can't achieve. So you have to work on the higher TRL level. R&D can work at TRL 3, but you need to work at TRL 4 and above. Then only we can, an institution like IIT Roorkee can. I thank you very much for this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for enlightening all of us with the STI ecosystem and Vision 2030 and beyond. So before that, I would request Director Sir, Dr. Anil Gupta Sir, and Convener Institute Outreach and Seminar Committee to be on the dais. just for a while to conclude the programs. Yeah. Okay.
Is there any
So-
question I can answer? There is a hand there. Yes.
Principles of innovation are principles of creativity. And by the time students reach our tertiary education system, they are less and less creative. It is a proven study. What are we doing at the higher levels of our education system so that we can incorporate creativity and develop it, and hence, that ultimately leads to innovation. So, what would be the outcome of such a policy with regards to enhancing creativity in adults who are going to be our future researchers?
Yeah, thank you. I think it's a very good question, and most of the people get have their confusion that, oh, what do you mean by innovation? So basically, and the basic definition of innovation is that anything that promotes creativity in technology development. So, but I think it is beyond that. So. In fact, I just give you example, then you understand that you go to any world-class university outside India, you find that that innovation is part of the curriculum. So what they do is that as part of the teaching, they also bring innovation. So they allow students to demonstrate their creativity. So you see, it is like this thing. And as a student of science, you can understand that we do so much in science. We understand the basics of science. We also try to develop technology through that. But very few of us think that can this technology become an innovative tool for future through a market mechanism. So innovation will not be successful unless it goes to market level. Innovation, if it is there within the lab, then it is not innovation. It has to market it at a different level. The people, and just simple thing that these instrument that which can monitor your heart. This thing, it is an ECG. You can go and check in your hospital. But if there is an innovation where in your home itself you can do, this is a useful project. Now the same principles are not different. It's the same principle, but only the creativity is there. You create an instrument which is handy to handle all the things. So innovation is nothing but making the citizens' life simpler through technology, development.
Can add.
Yes, sir.
So, if you can add, today in the morning we had a POG meeting, and the board of directors of IIT Indore has approved a translational research center. It is precisely exactly on the same topic, that all the students, after finishing their research, maybe it's a PhD, masters or BTech, they go out for a job, and the technology remains, in the laboratory with the professor, and professor searching for the next student. So we are now trying to establish a center where the same student can be recruited on a reasonably higher salary and can continue for
Great. This is a
6 to
great
8
thing.
months from here. So that you can actually complete the work, and after submitting your thesis, your respective theses, projects, etc. So this today morning only we got this center approved and then associated fellowships for this particular center have been approved. We'll come back to you with little more detail.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for highlighting these very important issues related to article processing charges and all. I just request you to please put some highlight on the strengthening Indian journals of making it of the level of
very
international
important
standard.
issue, yeah. So, this is a big area where, Indian journals, they are not able to compete with international. And the reason is that it is a commercial area. It is a commercial area. And the big journal like Elsevier and other people there, that's a big bosses, they want to. And so this is another thing that we are working on, this thing. How do we create internationally recognized Indian journal? It will not be done in just short span of time. It will require a lot of work on this thing. So there is a committee set up under with the direction and guidance of PSA to work on this area. So Indian journal is a definitely area of concern and we need to work on this. हाँ बोल आ रही है आवाज आई
Thanks, sir. Very nice presentation and very informative as well as very bold presentation from your side. Actually, my concern is like you said that IITs comparative to universities are in a better situation. University, I remember there are a couple of good initiatives from SERB, TARE and SURE kind of program. But what about the industries, bridging the gap between the industry and academia? And how do we convince industry to, participate in the academia research? And, is there any scope for that?
Yeah, so the SERB started a program called FIRE. And the
Yeah.
FIRE program is basically that, you bring industry and academia and let them agree to work together and government gives 50% and industry gives 50%.
Yes.
But this is a small scale program
Yes.
right now. I mean, we spend not more than, annually we don't spend more than 50 crore on that.
Yes.
But now it is going to scale up. So I just wish that, this, if NRF is formed, there is a separate funding. So we are keeping aside a sizable amount for innovation funding, where the industry and government will work at a 50% level.
Okay.
And we spend something like, I mean, I don't want to mention money because then it will not be correct to mention here. It's quite sizable amount. So the FIRE program is going to be scaled up.
Okay. 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 Because
And the state government also program. Right now there is a scheme called SURE scheme. SURE
Yes, sir.
scheme is for State University Research
Yeah.
Initiative. But now, and we again spent something like 70 crore or so on that. But this money is going to be scaled up 5 times.
Oh, wow. That's really. Yeah, because in like US and Germany, if you see,
Right.
every research group has some industrial project.
Right. So we are bringing same model. So thank you for telling us. But you already worked out the strategy for that. You are right. This will work on the same model.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
There's somebody.
Sir, you.
Hello, sir.
Sorry.
Oh, you,
Okay, continue.
Hello, sir. I'm Sandeep, faculty in Mechanical Engineering Department. So usually when we submit a proposal to SERB, so its outcome is whether it can be approved for the funding or may not, right? But the thing is, we don't get to know what are the comments of the reviewer. If that mechanism can be fixed, we will come to know where our proposal has lagged, and next time we can improve it. So that's the thing.
I agree. So last 4 months since the time when I took over secretary, I've been going to all committee and telling the same thing. That किसी को रिजेक्ट करते हो तो ये तो बता दो क्यों किसी की कत्ल करना है तो बता दो क्यों कत्ल कर रहे हो उसका तो
At
लेकिन
least next time we can be prepared that.
No, you will see this is going to come up soon. So committee told me, sir, ये साइकिल खत्म हो जाने दो, हम अगली साइकिल से करेंगे, because committee had to work extra. It is very easy for committee to write this proposal was not found suitable because it is not relevant, it is not a very standard committee, well, standard comments, which आपको कोई फायदा नहीं होता है. See, the committee told me, see, the problem is the kind of size that we are handling. You know how many proposals we are handling in CRE per year? Any idea number? So it is a huge number. It is nearly 40,000 proposals. So when you handle large volume, so क्या होता है? The problem is that I went to a committee, CRG committee, recently on physics. In 4 days, they were asked to go through 1,000 proposals. Just imagine if you are a reviewer, can you really review 1,000 proposals in 4 days? Impossible. तो क्या करते हैं वो सब्जी की तरह कटर काटते रहते हैं. तो मैं आपको प्रॉमिस करता हूँ कि ये हम इससे आई विल वर्क ऑन दिस थिंग. हाउ वी डू इट? सो मैं एक तरीका सोचा है. सी मैं बताता हूँ मैंने क्या तरीका सोचा है. So I am going to use a different model. See, if you ask reviewers sitting in the committee, even if you give 4 days time to review this 1,000 proposal, they cannot do justice. So I am adding another component there where you send to independent reviewers and उसके comment आपको दें, उसको summarize करें. जैसे you can then say that these 4, 3 reviewers are there and the summary of their comments are this. Then you feel agree.
Yes, that's great, sir.
Now, what is the problem? I'll tell you. मैं आपको आज खुल के बता रहा हूँ. I hope it is not going here. It is. So चलिए मुझे कोई डर नहीं लगता है. मैं आपको बताता हूँ. तो प्रॉब्लम ये है कि रिव्यूअर्स जो हैं वो क्यों नहीं ऑनेस्ट जॉब कर पाते हैं? क्योंकि उनको फ्री में करना पड़ता है. रिव्यूअर्स को फ्री में करना. कमेटी के मेंबर को तो पैसा मिलता है सिटिंग फीस. रिव्यूअर्स का काम फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट है, तो वो काम नहीं करना चाहते. तो हम इंट्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं रिव्यूअर्स चार्जेस, हम पे करेंगे. सो एंड आई एम गोइंग टू फिक्स द टाइम. एक और चीज आएगी चेंजेस कि अभी आपको कहीं इतना लेट हो जाता है, 7-8 महीने लग जाते हैं